Good morning, friends. This is once again your President, Mr. Raghavinder Das, from All India Cantonment Cum Bungalow Owners Association. Today, I think it's my 30th video and it will be covering a very major topic. After the 2006 Cantonment Act, most of the people in the bungalow area have been receiving commercial activity notices under section 244 subpara 1. Now we must remember what are these bungalows first of all. I have been addressing earlier that we should be addressed as not bungalow but as a house or maybe as a mahal, a estate. We've been given survey numbers and I have always insisted how do we counter all this. We can only counter all these facts which are presumed by the Ministry of Defence that we are government lands, is that we are category 3 lands as per the CLA rules 1925 and 37, where rule 6 very clearly says that under which category do we fall. Under 6.1 it says if it is vested in the majesty will be called class A and B. Now rule 6 subpara 2 says if it is vested in the cantonment authority it will be called class C. So we are basically following in neither of the above two categories. So now we become that we are private lands. And on these lands the cantonment authority only had 3 powers to be implied on. Basically it was building safety, sanitation and taxation. So how do we go about this? If you remember in Rule 4, 1937, it spoke of something similar, that these bungalows or these properties are category 3 lands. Now when we received this notice under section 244 Act 2006, we must remember when was this act notified by the President of India. It was way back in September 2006. Now check 2 is when was your cantonment made? When was it notified? I would give you like Ambala was notified twice, 1873 and then it was notified in 1887. These notifications are called the cantonment boundary pillars. The second most important point to counter this notice is whether your bungalow or your property or your house was ever de-requisitioned under the Rape Act 1952. Because after the Devolution Act 1921, all bungalows were de-hired after the World War. So, meaning hereby, very simply, as if you read the Rape Act, the property was handed over to the original owner. So if the government was the owner, why was the property given back to the predecessor or maybe you today? The third point what we can pick on this very notice is whether your house, estate, mahal is falling within the cantonment boundary pillars or is it within the military boundary pillars. And the third most important point is, or is it within the House Accommodation Act boundary pillars. This act was made before it was a bill in 1889. This was in 1902 and then further rebrushed in 1923. Section 10 says house not to be appropriated in certain cases. Now I am reading this rule 10 of the act. I'll just read the last line of this act is, if it is occupied, no notice will be issued for resumption by a hospital, school hostel, a bank, a hotel or a shop. And it even says if it has been continuously in occupation of this profile for the precedent 3 years, So most of our bungalows, if are running commercial activities, have been doing it for prior to 2006. Now the fourth point, I would be on a very technical grounds. What was the Cantonment Committee? The Quartermaster General Gazette 3270B dated 24th August 1900, very much under section 3 and 4 of the Cantonment Code 1899 and section 6 subpara 3 of Act 13 of 1899 clearly said that a Cantonment Committee is in no sense a military committee, but it is contrary a mixed committee or a council consisting of both military and civil officers and of government, which may be added of various people. It is no wise that these officers which have been added are connected to the government. And the most important point which it speaks on this Cantonment Authority, that this authority is under is a local authority constituted by the law. Now we will discuss this. What is a local self-government or a local self-authority? So the vestments again is to this authority is only the management of sanitary, financials and other matters within the specified area and empowered to levy taxes. So once again, what is it? Category 3. That this authority is only getting these 3 powers because these lands were never belonging to the British Her Majesty. We were not categorized in either of the 2, B or C or A. Now this proves that my house or my bungalow or my estate was only restricted to either of these 3 things by the Cantonment Authority. Now we all must remember and we must be knowing that even our predecessors were paying house tax. Now this house tax is generally presumed that we are only paying for the built up area and not for the land along with it. I will explain this in my taxation chapter, but now I would only explain you in this very notice that you must understand why in various acts these words specially used for us like building, premises and house are defined. So we must understand, once we know our laws, our confidence grows, and this commercial activity notice is nothing but a scapegoat. We can easily challenge it. We can easily win over it. This act was not retrospectively made. It was prospectively made. So where are we to lose on? So let's read these definitions. First we'll talk of building. Even in Cantonment Act it is defined in section 2. Means a house, outhouse, stable, latrine, shed, hut or other roofed structure, whether of masonry, bricks, wood, mud, metal or other material. Nowhere it speaks of residence. So it is basically a building. Now if we go by the Municipal Taxation Act of 1881 or the Municipal Act 1902 Punjab, building again means a shop, house, hut, outhouse, stable, factory, an industrial shed, a temporary structure erected by means of tents and structures raised for entertainment purposes, whether roofed or not, whether used for purpose of human habitation or otherwise, and whether a masonry brick. Even in section 37, when an amendment was made in 1994, it included whether used for human habitation or otherwise. There are n number of judgments which are defining this word building. It could be a 3-storied building, it could be a cottage, a building with walls. How building has been defined? A permanently fixed structure to the land and which is basically an immovable property. So going by this, building is cleared in our minds. These judgments can be taken by me. Anybody can call me up. Now premises. As per section 11 AA means any land or building or part of a building and includes the garden, ground and outhouses, if any pertaining to a building or a part of a building. B. Fitting affixed to a building part or more beneficial enjoyment therefore. Again, this under the Act does not speak of premises to be a residential premises. So nowhere these are talking of that our grants or our house were for purely residential purposes. Now under the House Accommodation Act, the definition of premises, which had gradually acquired the popular sense of land or building originally. Again, it speaks of the same thing as for a layman. What does a building would mean or premises would mean? So it is now frequently found in instruments and acts of parliament by meaning land or houses. For example, in the Public Health Act of 1875, section 4, where premises include massages, building, lands, easement, tenements and hediments of any tenure. Even in the Ballantine J.A. Law Dictionary, 2nd edition, premises is applied to land. So friends, if we are a premises, we are along with the land. If we are a building, it means along with the land. Now the third definition comes as of the house, which is again defined in the Cantonment House Accommodation Act, as well as in section 2, subpara F, means a house suitable for occupation of a military officer or a military mess and includes land and building. Now, here it is saying house is something which can be used for a military officer. So he can use it either for residential purposes and for a military mess. Now, a mess could not be a residential premises. It has to be a commercial or a commercial activity there. I will define you the word estate, which is generally being used in our GLR. In an act it said means the taluka or immovable property acquired or held by a talukadar or a grantee in the manner mentioned in section 4 and 5 of the immovable property, conferred by a special grant of British government upon the grantee. Now, estate is also again not talking of anything other than the word that it is given. So, where on earth this section 244 came in Act 2006? Now, if honestly speaking, if you see the whole Act 2006, it very clearly says that before this Act was made, this very particular section where a punishment is drawn, whether it is in the form of imprisonment or in the form of financial burden, the IPC very clearly says that no punishment can be retrospective unless the act or the law speaks of it very clearly. So 244 nowhere speaks of this. So we can go under the General Clauses Act section 6 and pick up various judgments on retrospective effect. If need be, people can call me up. I can be of help if need so. So now, to counter all this, I think stepwise, if people watch this video and if people have taken out their original GLR, which I had said full volume, if you see that also, provided that we say that the GLR is defunct, purged, not applicable on us because it has not been maintained as per the rules of the CLA rules. So, the CO or the Cantonment Authority is actually not coming clean to the court. Why it is not coming clean? Because the same act under section 233 says that before the implementation of 244, there has to be a land use plan made. Has that been made? Has the board member or has it been notified for the cantonment where this notice has been issued? Whether I as an individual have objected to that new master plan? So all these things need to be dug in. But please remember one thing, I have been continuously saying for the last 15 years, whether a suit or a notice is under taxation, section 244, unauthorized, PP Act, or to the last culmination resumption, it all leads to ownership. If we people do not completely accept and start asking for ownership, in what form? In our notices, and we believe that okay, let's just counter the notice and let's leave the ownership issue, we will lose, because then the grant would come forward, and once you're a grantee to be resumed by giving 1 month notice, you have no rights to do anything on these properties. We will get into a different fight, that will be whether this is a residential grant or a commercial grant. So friends, I've tried. There are a lot many people who have been issued resumption commercial activity notices. I have heard, and the people from Varanasi have called and they've said that we have even deposited money of running marriage complexes. They have been fined 50,000 rupees. I am surprised and stunned. Please, if there is nobody to guide you there, I assure you these notices are frivolous. They can be quashed. If you reach the court, please get back to me, try and call me. I am always available 24 hours into 7. Thank you. Good day.